And good evening and welcome to a very special first show of Wrestle Chat with me, Ralph Williams, my guest, Trapper Tom LETURGEY from Keystone State Wrestling Association. And I want to welcome you, Tom, Trapper Tom, actually. I want to
Thank you,
welcome you
Ralph.
to the
Thank you.
show.
It was very generous of you to invite me on your very first episode. I appreciate that.
Hey, that's no problem, Tom. It's great for you to be here. Also, we'll take your comments throughout the hour here. We're going to be here till 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking wrestling. First, Tom, share with my viewers and listeners here what exactly does the Keystone State Wrestling Association do?
The Keystone State Wrestling Alliance, KSWA, has been Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh's official professional wrestling organization for most of our 22 years, the longest running federation of its kind in the city of Pittsburgh, and we're currently the longest continuously running professional wrestling organization in Western Pennsylvania.
I understand you were telling me on the phone you do mostly fundraisers. How does that going?
We do what?
When we chatted on the phone, Tom, you had mentioned that you do mostly fundraisers. How is
Yeah,
that going?
yeah, very well. Over the last couple of years, with things have changed with COVID, we used to be based in the Lawrenceville, the what is now Spirit Lodge in Lawrenceville. We were based there for more than a decade, and with COVID, we kind of lost that venue. They decided to go into a different route. But what we have been able to maintain and grow over the last couple of years has been a steady stream of fundraisers. Well, whether it be like this Saturday coming up at the American Legion in Sheridan, we do fundraiser for them. Some volunteer fire departments throughout Western Pennsylvania. We just did one for the Springdale Junior Senior High School Marching Band, and dates are filling up. We didn't have anything in January or February. However, throughout the rest of the year, we may have as many as 25 events, and many of them being fundraisers, Boy Scouts. There's a big show being planned for
That's
the Boy
great.
Scouts later this year, and more and more organizations are looking into fundraisers with the KSWA.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's good to hear. I'm very encouraged to hear about your association with the Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout myself
Oh,
and a former
congratulations.
assistant scoutmaster. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And
That's a lot of hard work.
it is. It really is a lot of hard work. I miss it right now. It's hard for me to go camping and things like that. I'm handicapped, and so it's very difficult for me to get around. I am trying to get working with the Boy Scouts May 7th out at Highland Park at the Carnegie Lake. We're having a fishing outing going on. I'm going to be running it. We're trying to get people into these younger kids into the young kids into the Boy Scouts to get them off the streets and out of trouble
Sure.
because there's nothing for kids to do. The Boy Scouts has kind of slipped a little bit in their membership and some things, which I'm not going to go into on this program, but I think we pretty much have an idea of
Yeah.
what's happened with them over the years.
Yeah.
So, but it's sad to hear as to what has happened to the Boy Scouts, but it's good to see that now they're starting to come back a little bit. Uh, would you agree with me, Tom? And I discussed this. I do a national show called Wrestle Talk with my buddy, co-host and producer Mark Mancini from LA. He was in the Wrestling Federation that competed with ECW back in the years. I think he's called XLW or something.
Mm-hmm.
He was with them as a wrestler. Mark and I had a discussion, and I want your opinion on this. Do you think that the independents now are making more money than they ever have? as far as the independent wrestling circuit?
Yeah, one of the problems is there are so many independents all over the place. Um, uh, there's a handful of organizations in Western Pennsylvania that have been around for 20 years or more. And then there are some others that have made some uh, really good inroads over the past couple of years. But then I'm sure Mark would agree with me that there are what you call income tax promoters as well. Once they get their income tax, the guys will sometimes uh, put up a ring somewhere and think they know the wrestling business. So
Oh, I see.
you do have a lot of that. There's an argument on television that there's an oversaturation with wrestling on television, but for the independents, you have a intimacy with the action, with the wrestlers and the federations themselves that you don't get with the interactions. You don't have really interactions with the folks on television like you do in the independents.
Right. I used to work at Stage AE doing security for ROH, and we'll talk about that a little later
Okay.
because I think Tony Khan's getting a little greedy. I read something that he's trying to buy Impact from Anthem right now. Anthem's not willing to sell because I think Anthem's starting to make money with Impact now. They lost some money over the years with COVID and
Mm-hmm.
some bad management from the past when they bought it, and now they're starting to make money, and they're incorporating it with their sports. So with that, I think Tony Khan's starting to get a little greedy, but that's fine. Uh, Getting back to the wrestling, tell us about some of the wrestlers that you guys have in your organization.
Well, we've got to start with the the face of Pittsburgh, Lou Martin, and his sometimes friend, current enemy, Sean Blanchard. Sean is a former 6-time KSWA World Heavyweight Champion. Lou Martin is a multi-time champion, 2-time KSWA Heavyweight Champion. Those are the guys that have been there since the beginning. Our current KSWA World Heavyweight Champion is AA Anthony Alexander. He is a 2-time KSWA Heavyweight Champion and recently eclipsed the 830-day mark as the KSWA Heavyweight Champion.
Oh,
Always willing to defend the championship and has defended the championship against all comers. Justin Sane is a wrestler that has been with us for many years as well. And the King Del Douglas is another guy that has been with the KSWA for close to 20 years, if not more than 20 years at this juncture. A lot of the KSWA guys are Pittsburgh born and bred and have been with the KSWA for a long period of time.
that's great. That's great to hear. When COVID did hit, what kind of strategy did you impose when COVID came around? I know people couldn't come to events. Did you do virtual stuff? Did you do some different kind of activities? How did you manage to survive?
Well, we really we did not have any events where there wasn't anybody in attendance. We just were on the shelf for 14 or 15 months as things really ironed themselves out on the national and international level when it came to COVID-19. We just waited it out, man. We just waited it out. Did as much as we
Hey,
could.
you know what? Sometimes that's the way to do it. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
businesses did it, and a lot of people had to eat it. And I mean, so that's what you have to do sometimes with this situation. I'm hoping we don't see any more of what we saw before. I think we're pretty much over it, most of it,
yeah,
and stuff like that. And I hope that it's sounding pretty good that you guys are starting to come back. Other people are starting to. Everyone else is starting to come back, and everything to it. It's great to hear that you guys are doing real good with the fundraisers, and I'm very happy to say that I'm glad that you're, like I said, working with the Boy Scouts, the American Legion, people like that. That's a
Mhm.
great thing. That's a great strategy to do. And you know what? That's something different too, because a lot of these organizations have hoagie sales, spaghetti dinners,
Sure.
whatever, selling popcorn, balloons, or whatever, and that this kind of a fundraiser is actually a fun one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like really fun,
Yeah.
and that's great.
There's certainly nothing wrong with a hoagie sale. There's certainly nothing with a car wrong with a car wash,
Right.
anything like that. But this is an opportunity. It's a family friendly product. This is an opportunity for families to come out. We had the event on Friday night in Springdale. We had more than 200 people at the Springdale Junior
Wow.
Senior High School gym, and they were able to cheer and boo all of ASWA megastars, and they had a really good time. And sometimes it takes that was our most successful one. What people do sometimes when they schedule these events is they have to make sure there's nothing else going on in their neighborhood. The very first year we did it, we were up against, we didn't know until that night, we were up against some sort of high school municipal dance. And
Dance, right, right.
a lot of people aren't going to come because they went to the dance. The year after that, we had a freak snowstorm, and we had a decent crowd that day, but it could have been better. We didn't have anything last year, obviously, but this year we came back and we had they were very energetic. It was a great crowd. And as long as you have a organization like that is willing to work with you and get a nice crowd there, then things can really be beneficial when it comes to the bottom line. Did you go away?
I don't know what's going on. I've never had these problems before. I apologize for that. But
No
anyway,
problem.
sorry everybody. There was a technical difficulty there. Please put your comments in the comments section. You can get involved in the conversation with myself and Tom LeTurgey from Trapper John, actually. Tom or
Trapper
Trapper.
John.
Sorry, wow. You're the ring announcer
I
for.
am.
How does that working out?
Very well. I've been the ring announcer for the KSWA since the spring of 2005. More than 200 and I'd have to say close to 250 shows that I've done with the KSWA over the past 17 years or so. I've done some shows here and there for other federations, mainly in West Virginia, and a couple of here in Western Pennsylvania. But this has been my home for all this time, and there's no place I'd rather be.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pittsburgh's a great place. I've been trying to make it in broadcasting over the years. I failed for a little while, got out of it. I'm diving back into it, doing all this podcast stuff and everything. As you know, I have sports shows and the
Yes.
way I see it, and I have I'm even doing Maulers talk now.
Oh,
But
good.
I've kind of shelved that until next month because the Maulers don't start till April 16th.
Okay.
So you do know they're playing down at Legion Field down in Alabama. All their games this year. If they make it through this trial season, more or less, they're going to start looking around for a place to play. I've been hearing several different places, but we'll find out where they end up
Yeah.
as far. But they're not going to do Heinz Field this year. They learned their lesson from the last time. They're only going to do like a small high school stadium, kind of like what the Passion does,
Yeah.
and play in a place like that because they learned from when they played at Three Rivers and didn't really draw that well. The
Yeah.
only game they drew well for was the one when Cliff Stout came back to play for the Birmingham Stallions,
I remember that.
and he got beer bottles and eggs and stuff thrown at him. But anyway, you can put your comments in the chat line right here. We're Wrestle Chat with my friend here, Trapper Tom from the Keystone State Wrestling. Is it Alliance or
Alliance.
Association? Alliance. Okay,
It's
I want
a
to make sure I have
common
it.
common change in the lettering. But yeah, it's the Maulers. Oh, also you mentioned the Maulers. I'm also the public address announcer for the Steel City Yellow Jackets.
Yes, that's right. I want to try to see if I can. I might have you on a Tuesday night on my Sports Corner
Okay.
podcast. Talk about them because not a lot of people know that you guys are around, and I know
Yeah,
some people that like ABA basketball, and I like what you're doing. You're playing in small places. The
Yeah,
last time the ABA was here, you played at Duquesne University and some other places,
sure.
and I remember that. But now I'm glad to see a lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of people in Pittsburgh that like basketball, and especially they like that closeness of a high school setting, in a rec center kind of setting. They
Sure.
don't like have to sit way up in peanut heaven or something to watch a basketball game. And as you know, our college teams this year kind of stunk up the joint
Yeah.
all across. What was going on this year. Okay, let's get started on some other things. Let's talk about WWE a little bit. WrestleMania is coming up, as you know. What's your thoughts on the card for WrestleMania this year?
I couldn't even recite the card to you. It's a and as someone who's a minor stockholder, it's a bad thing to admit. But the card is underwhelming, really, for me. I'm 54 years old. My WrestleMania for me was Hogan versus Andre.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 1. A lot of
King Kong Bundy, WrestleMania 2, Mr. T.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember those days too. You got 1 year on me. I'm 53.
Okay.
So I understand. I grew up with the 80s wrestling and the Paul Orndorffs and the Macho Man Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect and all that. Yes.
But
so go ahead.
I am looking forward to the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match. That's of course the big highlight of WrestleMania. I'm a Becky Lynch fan. I'm perplexed as to why they brought her back as a heel as opposed to the biggest star they had. Period.
Yep.
The biggest star they had, male or female. But I'm looking forward to that because I like Becky Lynch. And other than that, I really can't tell you. And that's really a shame. WWE was here just on Monday
night,
Monday Night Raw, and I know a lot of friends that went. And everybody said it was nothing but promos and commercials.
Yeah, it was.
Downtime. If you've never been to a WWE TV broadcast like that, they go to commercial break and there is just people stand in the ring for a long period of time and really don't do anything. Sometimes they dance or just meander around the ring a little bit. But everybody said that the matches or the entire show on Monday was kind of lackluster. I think you've been disconnected again.
I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm sorry about that again, folks. Comment line is open. We're talking WrestleMania. Myself and Trapper Tom, who is a guest on the show here. We're talking about the WrestleMania card. We want your thoughts in the comments section here as well. Tom, Lashley comes back and now he's fighting almost in a match. And then on top of all that, you have the Logan Paul. And you have the Johnny Knoxville matches, and then you have Pat McAfee, who of course is from Pittsburgh, and he's fighting.
Is it
Vince
Austin Theory?
McMahon,
Yeah, Austin
Austin
Theory.
Theory. Yeah, yeah, he's fighting Austin Theory. And what do you think of those three matches?
I understand what they're trying to do with your non-traditional athletes. They're trying to get people out there maybe that would maybe not normally watch wrestling. I think your average fan of Johnny Knoxville's TV shows probably have checked out wrestling. Maybe they're still fans of his. The same with Logan Paul. And Pat McAfee is somebody that has, I used to criticize him, and I'll openly say this, I criticized him as just being a fan that somehow got a job with WWE, but he's made the best of his opportunities.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that the WWE actually, Tom, I think they got kind of desperate this year because usually like a month or 2 months in advance, you find out what the card is.
Yeah.
This year, they're bringing it up to the wire here, and in
Mm-hmm.
fact, Seth Rollins don't even have an opponent. Vince McMahon says he's going to have a mystery opponent for him. And now I was just on the phone with my producer Mark Mancini before we started the show, and he saw me on my cell phone. And Mark and I were discussing a little bit about this because our wrestling show that we normally do tomorrow night, we have to move to next week because he
Okay.
had a death in the family, and we normally
Oh,
do it
sorry to
every
hear
other
that.
week. Yeah, and so we were just talking about that. He said, "Who do you think it is?" Well, he heard it was Shane. It's going to be Shane McMahon, and then I'm hearing it could be Cody Rhodes, and that's another mystery. What's your thoughts on Cody Rhodes?
I've always thought that Cody Rhodes was a mid-level talent, whether he was in the WWE or AEW. When you're a founding member of AEW, you get to do a little bit more than the normal guy off the street, I suppose.
Right.
And he was able to do some things in that position. What I've heard the same thing about Shane McMahon being brought back. You know, he was let go
Right.
about a
Right.
month or so ago. It very well could be. They always got to remember Vince is always looking for a way for a WrestleMania payday for his kids. And that might be it for Seth Rollins to have that, because I think a lot of people think that it's going to be Cody Rhodes. You got to remember too on on the Monday after WrestleMania is usually a wacky kind of show where they reset some of their storylines and take
Right.
guys
Right.
into different directions. That's when I suspect that Cody Rhodes will debut for the WWE. That would be next Monday. I could be
Next
completely
Monday.
wrong. That's just my gut
Right.
telling me
So
that.
you think Seth Rollins is going to fight Cody or fight Shane McMahon like Mark was
I think
and
that's
I
what
were
they're
talking
leading us to think.
about? Think.
Maybe
Mhm.
51%. I'll go with that 51%, maybe 49% Cody Rhodes.
Okay. Now, my next question to you about this WrestleMania thing. If Brock Lesnar takes both of these titles, and they're talking about merging the titles together and getting rid of the separate venue format that they're doing, SmackDown, Raw, and mixing the athletes up again like they did in the
Yeah.
past. Okay, do you think Brock Lesnar is going to be a full-time wrestler, or do you think he's still going to stay part-time?
I think he's going to stay part time. They've been able to figure out the recipe of having Brock, whether he's the champion or chasing for the belt, that he just makes a handful of appearances. You know, it's almost the flavor of the syndicated shows back in the 80s. You never saw
Right, right.
Hulk Hogan wrestle on television. What
On
did you see
TV, no,
on
no.
TV?
Right.
Did you see him
Yeah,
wrestling he wrestled a
yeah.
jobber maybe once or twice a
Mhm.
year on the syndicated
Or
show.
a squash match. They call them
Correct.
squash matches too.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the squash match
Yeah.
ones.
You have a squash match, and they would hype it up that the world heavyweight champion Hulk Hogan's going to be on the syndicated program, and he comes out and he
Right,
does
right.
the squash match, and that's the formula that they've been using with Brock Lesnar for years. They're using him in the syndicated, and back in the day they used to sell you on the idea of going to your hometown to watch Hulk Hogan wrestle Macho Man Randy Savage or Paul Orndorff, whoever his rival of the day was. But where you have Brock Lesnar, he can show up from time to time on television, talk. Maybe they can have something taped. That way he still maintains a presence on WWE, but he doesn't wrestle all the time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tom. I had a little. I'm having some technical issues here with this. Actually, you know what? It finally came up the right way here. Oh, there we go.
All right.
All right.
Were you able to hear
It
me
was.
when?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could hear you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We both agree upon the fact that Brock Lesnar is going to still be a part-time wrestler, and as you mentioned, Hulk Hogan was as well. He didn't
Yeah.
come out, and play around with that. Now this year's WWE Hall of Fame. What's your thoughts on that this year? I heard
In WrestleMania
but
season,
Rick doesn't want to do, or Scott doesn't want to be involved in it, or something.
um, the WWE Hall of Fame season is probably my favorite part of the WrestleMania season. I'm a big Hall of Fame guy. The Keystone State Wrestling Alliance, the KSWA, we have our own Hall of Fame that is a specifically, you have to have some sort of Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania link to be considered for the KSWA Hall of Fame. This is it's the exact same thing as the WWE. You have a one night kind of deal where you talk about, the class of whatever year it is, and of course with the Undertaker, that's a no brainer. With the Undertaker, I've always been a Steiner's fan. I loved Rick Steiner from the very first time that I saw him, and it's a funny coinkydink that a friend of mine from college lives in suburban Atlanta, and she and her family, they live in the district where Rick Steiner is a school board member. I don't know if you knew that he was a member of the school board.
No, I did
of a
not.
suburban, and he's been for years. He's been a member of the suburban school board down there. And Scott, I like Big Papa Pump, but he was always second to Rick to me.
Right.
But yeah, it's a no brainer that those guys are in. And Charmel, she's in because she's Booker T's wife.
Oh yeah.
It's I dare anybody to remember a match that she was in. She trained to wrestle, but had an injury, and then I think married Booker T not long after that. So she was really more of a valet and a personality. I did like the gimmick they did when he had a rival. Booker T had a rivalry with the Boogeyman, and he was terrified of the Boogeyman. That's the highlight of Charmel's career for me. She was the most effective in that. But where's your Victoria? I was a big fan for many years of Molly Holly getting in, and she finally was able to get in. I thought for sure Victoria was going to get in this year, and I was surprised that she wasn't. I think it's a smaller class this year. I don't know.
It is. It is a small class. I haven't heard too much more.
Vader
Some people,
is one of them.
Yeah, Vader. Yeah, I liked Vader when he wrestled. He was good.
Yeah, so did I. So did I.
I just found out that Sunny is in jail again. She's having legal issues again. Apparently, she was caught speeding, DUI, and I heard this is the multiple times. I don't know what's going on with her. She continues to do this stuff. I guess it's the result of some things, and then the death of Scott Hall. How did that kind of took everybody, by storm too. This last couple of weeks, the death of Scott Hall.
Yeah.
I liked him when he was Razor Ramon. I liked him also when he was with the NWA or the NWO. I mean, I'm sorry, and I enjoyed the WCW rivalry with WWE. And I'm enjoying the AEW thing with WWE right now because WWE I don't like the storylines. I've been to those TV events. I promised myself I'd never go back.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because there wasn't a lot of matches. It was just a lot of talking. At least I've gone to an AEW event. I like their events at the Pete,
Yeah.
and so I just think the quality from AEW now and Impact and even NWA and MLW, some of the quality of their shows are starting to put away. WWE's got a lot of competition out here, and Vince McMahon better beware because I think, and I said this with Mark on the Wrestle Talk show on Blog Talk Radio, we had a discussion about this, and I said Vince McMahon better be careful because these independents are making more money now because people are going to these. They like the more realness of the independents more than they do, being in the gym and stuff like you had said before, rather than being in the audience like that in a big arena. It's more closeness to everything. Like when ROH was at Stage AE, it was nice and close. You could see it was a
Sure.
great thing, and I thought ROH should, and I think the city should have stepped up and let ROH use Stage AE for their TV tapings permanently for COVID. The city could have made a ton of money on that, but nobody stepped up. I've seen some of the NXT events, live events. They're not too bad either. I got to see Adam Cole. I got to see Velveteen Dream and some of these other guys with NXT. What's your thoughts on NXT?
Well, I think you went away, and I'll talk until you come back. I don't watch NXT often. I do watch in the hopes of seeing Rick Steiner's son, Braun Breaker. I don't know why they don't call him a Steiner. That stumps me to this very day. I do watch for him. I do like a couple of the girls on the events. Raquel Gonzalez is somebody that's very talented. Carrie Catanzano, who used to be on American Ninja Warrior. That's where I first learned of her. I do like her. Ciampa is somebody that I missed out being able to call myself Tomo Ciampa. Had I known that, I probably would have changed that over. But that I don't really watch. I think I've watched MLW once, I think, in my life. You mentioned Tammy.
I saw Enzo on there. He was teaming up with Braun Strowman's going on the name Adam Kerr now.
Yeah, his
real name. They teamed up together and they went up against a couple guys.
Okay.
That was pretty interesting. And then it ended up Braun Strowman ended up beating up Enzo. You know how Enzo Amore was, man. Wow. Yeah. Now he's just going under the name Enzo.
Yeah.
He's an MLW. You got Austin Aries in there now. He's an NWA, I think. He's in one of those, either MLW or NWA. Austin Aries is there. I think he was underused when he was at NXT. Adam Cole should have been moved up to one of the main brands. I think that's why he left NXT for AEW. And, I believe that NXT is not going to be the same anymore. And now they're putting the dirty dogs in there now.
Yeah.
Because they don't have anything for them to do except for the same matches that we see all the time with the WWE.
Sure.
And that's another thing I'm getting tired of. The same storylines, the same things. They cut all these wrestlers. I'm tired of that 24/7 champion BS. It has to go away. I think that's totally ridiculous. I can't stand it. R-Truth running all over the place. If you don't have any space for R-Truth, let him walk. Let him go to an independent or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Vince supposedly likes R-Truth, so R-Truth isn't going anywhere, and it gives him something to do. He's very entertaining, and it gives him something to do. And if he can elevate somebody else along the line, the guy's around 50 years old. If he can, elevate bring somebody with him, have some fun with somebody else, that gives him something to do. You mentioned Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole had the opportunity to get some more money, and remember, his girlfriend is Britt Baker.
So, I know that. Yeah, and she has a dental office somewhere up north.
It's down in Florida. Yeah, she lives in Florida.
Oh, she has one in Florida too.
Yeah,
I heard she has a dental office up in Meadville somewhere or something.
That's she might still have her license here. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you.
She still does.
Oh, does she? I don't know if you can practice with a license in one state or two, but she lives
Yeah,
in
she went to the.
Florida,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
that's
she
where.
went to the University of Pittsburgh. Is
Yeah,
where she
yeah.
went for dental.
Hmm.
So that's great. She's originally from Pittsburgh. Okay, we're here. Wrestle Chat debut tonight. We're going to be here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Tom and Trapper Tom from Keystone State Wrestling Association or Alliance
There you go. Just call it the
here.
KSWA. Makes it easier for you.
I'll get it there. Don't worry, I'll get it, Tom.
That's all right.
Anyway, we're here tonight talking wrestling, professional wrestling. If you want to chime in with your comments, you're welcome to do so. I apologize for the technical issues on my end. I don't know what this is all about, but
Hey, I'm
it
just surprised it's
continues.
not on my end.
Yeah, I know it, but it's on mine for some weird reason, and I don't know why. But anyway, all right. I wanted to wish Tarantula's birthday is today, right?
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
thank
T. Angela,
to him.
KSWA
Yeah.
Hall of Famer, class of 2016. A great guy.
There
Great
you
guy.
go.
He's become a great friend over the past close to a decade. He's been with us now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, let's get into some AEW. Tony Khan. I had mentioned earlier that I think he's starting to get greedy. He bought ROH, which of course ROH was kind of sinking anyway. I think COVID sunk them.
Mm-hmm.
They basically kind of fell out of the wind. And then when they lost Cody Rhodes and they lost the Young Bucks and they lost all those guys and Adam Cole, I think that's when ROH started going down. Because when I was working the events at right after they left, I was working the events at Stage AE. I noticed the attendance had gone down when all those guys walked away, and I was like, "Why is the attendance so low here?" And then Kazarian and Christopher Daniels and all them guys all walked away.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, uh, now they're going back and forth here. I heard there's a working relationship as there was before with Impact and AEW. Recently, I read an article that Tony Khan attempted to try to buy Impact Wrestling from under Anthem Sports, and Anthem told him no. But they're going to keep the working relationship going. You know how you had Kenny Omega and Christian Cage over there, and you had Sammy Cavaro over there a little bit or whatever. Yeah, what's your thoughts about Tony Khan? Do you think he's starting to get greedy, or do you think he just basically, he wants to buy up everything? You think he's trying to go up against Vince McMahon in that aspect, or what do you think?
I just think that when you have a dad who's a billionaire and you're interested in professional wrestling, you can spend what appears to be an endless amount of money. I think that I obviously have no clue of what their books are. They had to have done nothing but lost money or lose money for many months, if not more than a year after launching that. There was talk about each talented contracted wrestler having $300,000 minimum contract or something like that. I'm not exact. That's just hearsay. That's rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. But
Right.
if you have people signed up to big contracts, it's really a business model that really hasn't been done before. Even though they're supposedly under contract, you see a lot of these people taking independent bookings and going to different
Yeah.
places. Thunder Rosa was somebody that had the championship for another federation.
Yeah, she was with MLW's women's title or something she
She had
had,
the
I think.
NWA title, and then
Or NWA too, yeah. Yeah.
I
So
don't know the name of it, but she's technically currently still the women's champion for this other.
that AAA. I forgot about that AAA championship.
It's like in
FTR
Chicago
has.
or something like that,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. They
she's
have
giving
that. They
that up.
have their tag team belts.
She's
So
giving that up next month, and a lot of these guys do take independent bookings all over the place. So it's really strange when in my estimation, that's really strange to see that when you have talented athletes going other places to wrestle.
mhm.
They don't have, they do tape. I've been to the AEW shows. I write for Slam Wrestling in Canada. I've been
Oh,
to the
okay.
shows here. I do book reviews
Mhm.
and some features and whatnot for
You
them.
know, my friend Jay White. You know him, right?
Yeah. We've
Yeah,
talked
Jay
on the
White.
phone. We've
Yeah.
talked on the phone,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
but AEW, they have that AEW Dark where people come out and they do squash
Yeah.
matches in less than
Right.
5 minutes, and it's very
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
yeah. They
Yeah.
do a very good job. It's the anti WWE. People come in, they get their matches, and they get out of the ring, and the next people are in. And they really, you can do 20 matches in an hour with that kind of, a little bit, maybe a slight exaggeration, but not much. You can get a lot of matches done in that and create a lot of content for your online platforms.
Well, I heard starting the Pittsburgh match in April, they're going to be taping Rampage at the same time that they do before they do Dynamite. They're having everybody show up at 7 o'clock is the bell time, and they're going to do Rampage first and tape it for Friday. That's how they're doing it now, AEW,
Mm.
instead of having it in the same city for 2 nights. You know what I mean? Because I know the Rampage, and they probably taped the Dark during the Rampage time. I
That's
would
exactly right,
suspect.
because
Yeah,
I was there
yeah.
for that. I was
Mhm. I
there
was
for
only there for Dynamite. I never went for Rampage, so I don't know
yeah,
what they do with that. But
because
yeah.
I've been there for Dynamite, and I wanted to see what Rampage was like, so
Mhm.
I did cover that for Slam Wrestling. You probably find that still on the Slam Wrestling website.
Oh, I
Blam
see.
is a Canadian. You're talking about Blam, Jay White's Blam.
Yeah,
This is
Blam. Okay, yeah.
Slam
This is
Wrestling
Slam. Okay.
is Greg
Yeah.
Oliver's and others in Canada, one of the leading pro wrestling news websites. And I was
What's
there
your
for
thought?
Rampage. What's that?
Mhm. No, no, no. I was going to ask you another question, but go ahead.
Okay, I was there for Rampage, and they did do the AEW dark matches. Before that, they taped those. But you're right. When they were here last time, they did Dynamite. They were here Wednesday, and the guys and the gals were in town. That the ones that were there for Rampage, they were in town for several days, and
Mhm.
you could see them. You could follow them if you follow them on Instagram or social media or whatnot. You could see them going different places, and
Right.
one of Evil Uno, I think he had an autograph signing at a place in Dormont. Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I did see that. Yeah, I
I
heard that.
didn't
That
go to
was
that,
on the.
but I'm not
Yeah.
even sure where that place is. But they were in town. They had an
Mhm.
opportunity. There are some
They hit the streets, and that's
they
great that
did.
they do
There's
that
some
because,
entrepreneurs in town
yeah.
that brought
Mhm.
them to different places, and it gives the fans an opportunity to see some of these people, and then Evil Uno is able to get a couple of bucks out of it. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. What's your thoughts on AEW's overstacked roster? Do you think it's overstacked? Because a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
people are saying that it's overstacked.
yeah. It's way overstacked. There's way too many people. When they mentioned Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor, they wondered if they had the TV time slots that Ring of Honor still maintains with a lot of their
Right.
reruns. And now, if
Hmm.
you bought Ring of Honor, which it was a dead federation, Ralph. They
I
closed up
got you.
shop. They closed up shop. And but
Yeah.
if he's able to resuscitate it, and maybe if they're able to use some of that TV time, that could be different. You could put some of your people on those kind of shows. I hadn't heard that about Impact, but I know that
Mm.
there's always rumor WWE was trying to buy him and blah blah blah, this that and the other.
Yeah.
But unless Ring of Honor comes with a television package, uh, television schedule that you can use, you just bought you bought a dead federation, Ralph. Bought a dead federation. Hopefully, for everybody involved.
There you
Ian,
go.
yeah, that's right. Ian Riccaboni is a great play-by-play man.
Oh,
Caprice
super
Coleman
guy. Super
is a
guy.
great color commentator. I hope that they give them an opportunity to do something with a relaunched Ring of Honor. I think that there's a fan base out there that could really appreciate that. But again, if you buy Ring of Honor, you have to have access to those TV time slots. I've also heard things, HBO Max, some sort of arrangement that they may have with those guys. There is an oversaturation of wrestling. My wife always says that I can find wrestling on television 7
Oh
days a
yeah,
week.
yeah, it's everywhere. It's on.
It's
I
everywhere.
watch MLW on YouTube. I watch NWA on YouTube, and then Impact's on Access TV, and then I
Mm-hmm.
catch some of their stuff.
Yeah.
Like I like the one where Tommy Dreamer fired Don Callis. That was hilarious. I still watch that video from last summer when he fired him. He said, I come here to tell you you're fired. And I thought that was pretty funny. That was real funny because Scott Demore thought he was getting fired. And
Yeah. Yeah.
then, and then I heard Callis called him a stooge and Tom Pritchard stooge. And I was like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? I thought that was pretty hilarious.
I
Or
did.
Bruce Pritchard. He called him Bruce Pritchard stooge and all
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff.
I did watch a little bit of Impact last week. I caught the match that Mickey James had. It wasn't Donna Perrazzo. I'm trying to think who she was wrestling. I think it's the woman that has their belt now.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, but I was
Ever since they went to Access TV, I don't catch up with them anymore.
Yeah, I was blown away with. You got to remember, Mickey James is a young lady that's still in her early 40s, and she was very athletic, as
she was
athletic as anybody that you're going to see anywhere else, and she performed very well in that match. She didn't win. But I was really impressed. That's the first time I had seen her for a little while, and
yeah, she was with the end. She's in the NWA also. She was doing some matches there. Her husband's no longer the play-by-play guy. He does something else, some kind of it's a sideshow. It's national. Remember John Burton from WTAE? He does it. Josh does it with John Burton from WTAE, and it's some kind of a pre-talk show kind of thing. They talk about wrestling for about 20 minutes, a half an hour. I can't remember the name of it. I seen it on a national broadcast on a cable channel, and that's what they're doing now.
Okay.
So I mean, it's nice to see Tom Phillips. He's with Impact now as an announcer, which is great. It's great to see him back. I thought he got a short end of the stick with the WWE, and so. And his knowledge of wrestling as well, but unfortunately, he has to team up with Don Callis, and I can't stand Don Callis.
I don't listen to him do commentary, but as the mouthpiece for Kenny Omega, I thought Don Callis was tremendous.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. Now you got this other blowhard from MMA stuff, the one that's on AEW,
yeah, Dan somebody or other.
Dan, yeah, we got this guy now. He's the new blowhard. What's your thoughts?
Just to clarify something, I think Mickey James is married to Nick Aldis.
I'm sorry, she's married to Nick Aldis. Oh, who's married to Josh? What the hell? I forgot his last name. I know his first name. He was the announcer for Impact.
Okay,
but anyway, yeah, Mickey James is married to Nick Aldis. I'm going to tell you a little.
Nick Aldis was one of our fan fests a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I like Nick Aldis because I met up with him when he was making an appearance as NWA champion when they had a working relationship with ROH.
Okay.
And I really laughed, and I says, you know what really made me crack up about this, Nick? And he goes, what's that? I said, when you were Magnus in Impact and Bobby Lashley was there, when he was the champ, and you went up to him and called him Robert, and he flipped out. And I said, I laughed my butt off. I said, it was so hilarious. And he said, to this day, him and Bobby Lashley are still not friends because every time he sees Bobby Lashley, he goes, how you doing, Robert? and Bobby Lashley just goes ballistic when he calls him Robert. I'm
really?
Like, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, Nick Aldis told me that. He says, I make it. I met some nice the ROH wrestlers when they're not wrestling. They come and sit in the audience with the audience. They actually sit there with them, and I got to meet the beer belly bruiser, and I got to meet Jay Lethal and some of them guys when I was doing security there,
Yeah.
and it was nice. It's a nice setting the way they did things. I used to enjoy them watching them on TV here and there. The Briscoes. Where's the Briscoes going to go now? I mean,
Well, I
they
know
don't.
that they've done a little
ROH was their home.
I know they did a little bit with NWA. They won that tournament they just recently had a week or so ago.
Hmm.
And AEW said that they weren't going to hire him because the one made some tweeted some things a couple of maybe a decade ago that they thought were insensitive, benign really, but in 2022, things like that can be blown out of proportion. I'm not sure if Ring of Honor comes back, maybe somebody else is involved with that, and they are Ring of Honor. If you're
Right, right,
have
yeah.
an active Ring of Honor, you have to have those guys.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Jay Lethal,
You have to have names to bring
yeah,
people to put butts in the seats,
that's
because
right.
if you don't have names, you might as well forget about it.
Hmm.
And as I mentioned earlier, when they lost Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, all those guys, and they all went to and Adam Cole. When they lost all those guys, that's when I started seeing them fall a little bit.
Yeah,
Kenny King's an Impact now. I met him down there. Kenny King's a nice guy. I met him there. And then, I haven't seen hit or high of a Bully Ray lately. I know he was with ROH for a little while.
yeah.
I don't know what he's doing.
A
And
lot of
I know he
independent
was,
shows. He was at
yeah.
Tommy Dreamer's that event they have at the old ECW arena that
Oh, in Philadelphia.
yeah, down in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was just there for that. They had a huge crowd for it. I think it was last weekend. They had
Oh, people still love ECW. They yell it all the time and scream
yep,
it, And when Vince McMahon, I laughed when Vince McMahon bought it, and then he tried to spell it off as it was nowhere near what the original, when
yeah,
Paul Heyman had it going
yeah.
the original way.
Hmm.
But anyway, getting back to AEW, what's your thoughts on Chris Jericho and his new faction? What do you think about the Jericho Appreciation Society?
Um, uh, you know, he flip flops back and forth from being a babyface and a heel. They another it's another stacked organization that they have. The other guys with Jake Hager is
Yeah,
a part
yeah.
of that. It's too early to tell what they're going to do with that. I think that Jericho saw that, and he's smart. He's very smart, and he saw that the fans weren't going to boo Eddie Kingston.
Right,
They
right,
had
yeah.
they started that feud with Eddie Kingston, and I think
In LAX, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that the original plan was to have Eddie Kingston turn heel, but he's always played sort of a tweener with that. But it was kind of selfless instead of
Mhm.
selfless for Jericho to make that change, because I think Jericho realizes now that he's in his early 50s, and even though he's lost some weight again, and
He lost to, yeah, he looks sharp. I mean,
he's starting to
because
look
he had
sharp.
that pot belly there for a little while, and then I saw him
I didn't feel
on
so bad
that
about
cooking
myself.
show.
I
Yeah,
didn't feel so bad about myself when I
yeah, I know
saw
exactly. Yeah,
it.
I'm there
But
too. So
and I think he's doing a good job of helping put somebody else over at this juncture with that. I don't know what they're going to do with Jake Hager. When Nick Aldis was the NWA champion, they built a match that he had with Jake Hager, and that match came and gone really. But they did a good
Mhm.
job of building Jake Hager as a former MMA guy and a real shoot fighter, and it was going to be a tough match for Nick Aldis. And, that match came and went really. But I don't know what they're going to do with Jake Hager. At least he has a job, I suppose. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Right, right,
It's good for
right.
him
Yeah.
there. I don't know the other two guys. I really can't comment on
Well,
him
he's got
elevating.
some new rookies. They're
Yeah,
called 2.0.
yeah.
I think they're second or third generation wrestlers. I can tell the one looks familiar to a wrestler I've seen in the past.
Okay.
They've managed to team up with Jericho here in his new faction. I was kind of, I really didn't want to see the inner circle go. I knew they had succeeded in taking down, MJF's faction and taking people out and things like that. I think if they would have stayed like that, I think they could have lasted a little longer. And then for LAX to even say that they didn't have any chance to get to become famous, I thought they insulted Chris Jericho, and and because Jericho even said, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be in the spotlight. I
Yeah.
mean, and he threatened to call Hernandez and Homicide and get them there. And I Hernandez is he's a champion now with MLW, I believe, or he's doing something there.
Yeah, I saw
Homicide,
where he re-signed with somebody. Uh,
yeah.
I had completely forgotten about him, but
Yeah,
uh,
I sort of forgot about him too until Jericho brought their names up.
yeah,
Said, "Hey, I'll call the other half of LAX and get them in here
yeah.
if I have to, and stuff." And I thought that was. Now here's another one we have for you. We're getting ready to wrap up shortly here, but one more question for you about AEW.
Hmm.
There's been a big rift right now between MJF and Tony Khan. MJF is not happy with things. He wants out of his contract. He's trying to go to the WWE. His contract with AEW is until 2024. Tony Khan tried to sign him to a new contract. He doesn't want it. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think MJF should shut up and just stay there and do his thing, or do you think he can move on and perform somewhere else?
There's always one story, and then the other
And the
story.
other, yeah,
Truth is
yeah,
somewhere in between.
right.
It might very well be a work. I think that I really think that MJF is where he should be, because you got to remember, I I've often said I write a lot about wrestling. I've been an announcer for a long period of time. If I ever got that call, if I ever got that call from Vince and said, "Hey, listen, I know you write some things, and I know you're an announcer. You'd be interested in coming up?" No, no,
Right,
because
yeah.
you see people that get burned out all the time. They get used
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
uh, and tossed
And
aside.
he uses you and he spits you out. I mean,
Correct,
he'll do it, Vince
correct.
McMahon. I've seen it. I've seen it happen with some of the people that he's
Sure.
pissed off and got
So
real angry with.
not
You
to
know,
lump myself into a real wrestling talent like MJF, but a young guy like that, he's good where he is. The fans there get him. I don't know how much of that. The kid's in his early 20s yet, too. So
right,
you
right.
don't know how much of this is true or false or work or um, whatever. But he's where he should be, which is good, because you go to WWE and remember what they did with everybody from WCW when they came.
Yes, I remember that. Yes,
They
yeah, that
buried
was
everybody from
buddy.
WCW.
Hmm.
And if
Yeah.
you were lucky enough to stick around and Vince liked you and that sort of thing.
Like Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit,
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero,
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, all those guys that were all in WCW all got buried. Kevin Nash,
Hmm.
Scott Hall, I remember that. Sting never didn't get it. Sting look what happened to him. Finally, he gets in the Hall of Fame and he makes his first WWE match. And then the next thing you know, he gets an injury. He's back again. He's looking better than ever for 61 years old.
He just
So,
turned
or 60,
63 and
63. Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's been tremendous. He's
Yes, he has.
another one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's nice that he can control his own schedule
sure.
and, and stuff like that. And getting back to Cody Rhodes, we were talking about that earlier. He was an executive vice president. And now I come to find out they have too many in AEW right now, executive vice
Yeah.
presidents. And I think there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And what's
Correct.
happening is everybody's arguing because I heard he had some issues with Kenny Omega, the way he was conducting himself with the Don Callis thing. And then there was going back and forth. And then I heard there was some other things. And now you got the Young Bucks doing this and doing that. And I heard Tony Khan wanted more control, which of course he's the owner. He can do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? But if you're going to have executive vice presidents, you're going to have a general manager or something, you need to have somebody do that. Let them do their job. You notice now Vince McMahon's trying to do everything instead of letting people do their
Oh
job.
yeah, yeah.
And you've seen it with sports, with teams, football teams, baseball teams, whatever. You stick your nose in it too much, and especially if you don't know what you're talking about, and you stick your nose in it too much. I mean, I'm not saying Vince don't know what he's talking about, but Mark Mancini said this when we had our Wrestle Talk on Blog Talk Radio. He thinks Vince is getting senile, and I think it's time for him to step down. I said this: let your kids run it, okay? Because I think they can do a better job. Let Triple H and Stephanie run it, and Shane McMahon run it, and Shawn Michaels, the guys that know wrestling, that have been there, to put the grind in. Let them do it. I don't even understand why Vince is even there. I mean, that's, you know what I mean.
Well, he's always been a workaholic. Vince has always been a workaholic. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Vince McMahon's mother just passed away.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So he's going to be around for a lot longer.
I see that. Yeah.
And you look at the writing on the wall, it looks a little bit like Triple H maybe getting phased out.
Yes. Well, I mean, he can't wrestle.
He can't wrestle, and he hasn't been on TV for a long time.
We don't know what his work schedule can do with his health. I heard his health is in bad shape. He's got respiratory problems.
He had that heart issue. You haven't seen Stephanie much on television. They let Shane go. I don't know what.
And then brought him back. Yeah. And then,
I don't know what the succession plan is, if there is one. And Vince probably doesn't have one because he doesn't want to give it up.
Yeah. Well, Tom, thanks for being on the program on my debut of Wrestle Chat. We're here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. And now we're getting ready to go watch AEW and see what they're up to tonight. Tom, you have a great one. Thank you. Look forward to working with you some more.
Yeah, anytime.
Both in wrestling and with the Yellow Jackets, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Here I got Will Smith touched my phallus, is what it says. Remember they're laughing about that Will Smith punching Chris Rock in the mouth. Yeah, they're here. It says touch my phallus. Some derogatory guy here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. He goes by the name. I'm not even going to go there. So, but you get those folks here on YouTube. So, what are you going to do? Yeah. Anyway, thanks again, Tom. It was great being here. Thank you for watching.
Thank you anytime.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Tom. And we're going to be doing some business in the future with KSWA, and it's going to be a great working relationship. Also, don't forget next Wednesday, 7 p.m. we're here. And also don't forget to tune in on Blog Talk Radio on April 7th, 9 o'clock p.m. Wrestle Talk with me and Mark Mancini, 347-205-9631. I'm Ralph Williams. This has been Wrestle Chat, and everybody have themselves a great night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great one, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Anytime.